And the winner of this year's Ramadan fasting challenge is... When I was 7 years old, at my masjid, every year they would do something called the Ramadan fasting challenge. And the way it worked was simple. Every day that you had either done a full day or a half day fast, your name was entered into a hat. And on the day of Eid al-Fitr, the Imam of the masjid would put his hands into the hat. He would stir up all of the names, and the ones that he picked, well, they would get special gifts. Now, when I was 7 years old, I had done 15 half-day fasts. So that means that my name had been entered into the hat 15 times. And so I remember that day of Eid. The Imam of my masjid walks up to the front. He gets onto the microphone. He grabs the hat. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls," because that's the way he had a little bit of an accent. Okay, anyways, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this year's #1 winner for the Ramadan fasting challenges." And he put his hand into the hat. He mixed up all of the names. He took out the first name. He opened it up, and it said Alia. And my friend Alia, she jumped up. She's like, "Yes! Woo! I can't believe it. I won." And she goes up to the front and she's super excited. And at the front, the Imam hands her a gift. It's a box of crayons. She sits back down and she's happy. Now the Imam goes up to the front again. He says, "The second winner of this year's Ramadan fasting challenges," and he puts his hand into the bucket. He mixes them all up. He takes out the names. He opens it up and it says Ahmad. And my friend Ahmad next to me, he shoots up. He's like, "Woo!" And he looks at us. He's like, I won. And we're like, "All right, Ahmad, come on. Have a little bit of, come on. Like, we didn't all win. Just chill out." So he goes up to the front. The Imam hands him a box of books. Kind of similar like this one, okay? He gets like a box of books. And he comes and sits back down. Then the Imam goes up to the front again. He says, "The third and final winner of the Ramadan fasting challenge." And all of us kids, we looked at each other. We're like, "What? Did he just say final winner? Is this the last winner? Is this the last award? Oh my goodness, you guys, this is the last award." So we all sit there and we wait. And the Imam puts his hand into the hat. He takes out the names. He reads it out loud. He says, "Amin Asar." And I sit there and I wait. And my friends are like, "Amin, that's you. Amin, that's you." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, that's me." I stand up. I'm super excited. I go up to the Imam. He hands me a black box. I take it and I sit back down. Now I'm excited. I just won. And not just did I win, I won the final and the grand prize. Now I'm curious, what is in this black box? I try opening it up and I'm like, and it just doesn't open. I try shaking it, so I'm like, shake, 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 shake. But it sounds like nothing's inside. So then I try knocking on it. I'm like, and it sounds like it's hollow. Allahu Akbar, are you serious? I'm thinking to myself, did they really just give me a black box? What am I going to do with this silly black box? And as I was thinking that, my friend Kamal comes in. My friend Ahmad comes in. He says, "Hey, Amin, how do you like your gift?" I say, "Man, they just gave me a silly black box. There's nothing that I can do with it." I said, "How's your gift?" And he's got his box of books, and he's like, "Oh, man, these books are amazing. They're awesome. They're written by Noor Kids." No, I'm kidding. This is before Noor Kids. Anyways, Ahmad looks at my black box, and he looks at it in his hands, and he says, "Hey, Amin, I'll trade you." I said, "What?" He said, "I will trade you my box of books for your black box." I begin thinking about it. I look at the books. I look at the box. I look at the books. I look at the box. I look at the books. I look at the box. And I say, "Okay, fine, deal. I'll trade you." But before I give it to him, he looks at me and he says, "Amin, no trade backs. I say, fine, that's okay. I give him the black box. I take the books and I start reading them one by one, and I'm like, these books are amazing. And then I'm having such a good time with them. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great. Until I see my friend Ahmed again. And he's happy. And I look at Ahmed and I say, hey Ahmed, what's going on, man? He says, Amin, there was something in that black box. I said, what? He said, Amin, when I got that black box, I thought to myself, there's got to be something inside. I said, I thought the same thing too, but there wasn't anything. Ahmed says, well, look. First, I tried opening it, and I was like, ugh, and it didn't open. Then I tried shaking it, and he said there was nothing inside. Then I tried knocking on it, and it felt like it was hollow. But then I found a button, and when I pressed the button, it opened up, and inside there was a beautiful watch. My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. I traded an amazing gift, a beautiful watch. Why? Because I didn't know that it was inside. That day, I learned a very important lesson. Sometimes there are things that on the outside we might look at and we might say, what is this? It feels like a black box, but it isn't until we are able to open up that we see the beauty of what is inside. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's episode of our Ramadan daily digital camp, or whatever, dear Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. Today we're going to be talking about something important, the Quran. But before I start talking about the Quran, I want to, of course, introduce you to whom I am, myself. My name is Amin Asr, and I am the author of Noor Kids. What is Noor Kids, you ask? Great question. Today, I don't want to talk to you about our akhlaq building program. I actually want to talk to you about something else. In addition to our work for 5 to 12-year-olds, we also have books for younger children. I call them babies, like my baby. Books like Blessed for My Teddy and Mr. Monster's Dua. And it also comes with a little superhero, Bismillah superhero cape. You can find it at noorkids.com. Anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about the topic today. Here's the thing. And by the way, I hope that you guys can hear me, because I just got a message from someone saying, Amin, we can't hear you. But I'm pretty sure that you guys can hear me, because I only got one message. I would have probably gotten more. Anyways, we'll go back. That's the fun part about live programs. P.S. Don't call me right now, because then I'd have to pick up. I'm just kidding. I shouldn't have even given you that idea. All right. Here's the thing. It is the month of Ramadan. And during the month of Ramadan, I'm sure that you have heard people talk about the Quran, because the Quran was revealed during this month. In fact, the Quran is synonymous with this month of Ramadan, because we are supposed to read the Quran during this month. But if you are like me, you might have asked the question, why? Why do we read this book, and why do we read it during the month of Ramadan? Now, in order for us to answer this question, I am going to be reading out of this book called the Book of Guidance. And look at that cover. Beautiful cover. And by the way, all of our previous books, like this one, are back in stock at noorkids.com. All right. So in order for us to read this, I am going to be sharing my screen, and we're going to be reading out of this book called the Book of Guidance. Before we start, allow me to introduce you to the characters. Amin, Shireen, Asad, and Amir. We'll start with Amin, who right here you can see him. He's baking lasagna. Allahu Akbar. Amin has an older brother in college named Hasib, and the one thing about Amin is sometimes he does stuff without thinking about it, and because of that he gets into trouble. He also loves food, just like me. He happens to love lasagna. All right, then there's Shireen. You can see her here doing archery. Now, the thing is about archery, which is really great, Shireen has a twin brother named Jafar, and the one thing about Shireen is that she wants to be just like her mom, who works for National Geographic. Then there is Asad. Asad is a sports star. He loves... I'm so sorry. I'm so distracted. Asad is not a sports star. I'm getting messages on my phone now. People are calling me. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh my goodness. I'm going to put this down. All right. Asad has a younger sister named Yusra, and he loves to break things apart just to figure out how to put them back together again. Then there is Amira. Amira is an artist. She loves exploring all of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beauty through art and poetry and painting. And here, you can see her fencing. Amazing. So every one of our books has 2 stories. I am going to be reading one story called The Ultimate Recipe. But before we start, I need you to say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Did you say it? Did you say it? Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And the winner of the Junior Chef Challenge is... The students at Northport Elementary are competing in a school-wide cook-off. And look at this. There's the chef here. There's Amin. There's Amira. There's Ethan. They're all waiting. Who's the winner? Amin for his delectably delicious double-stuffed lasagna. The crowd is stunned. Everyone thought Amira would win. And if you know Noor Kids very well, Amira is normally the one who's good at things like that. It's surprising that Amin won. How did you do it, Amin? Asks Amira. It was simple, says Amin. I followed my mom's special recipe book. It told me what ingredients I needed and what directions I needed to follow. As winner, Amin receives special prizes, a new pair of oven mitts, a bundle of Noor Kids books, and a copy of the Holy Quran. Alhamdulillah. Can you see that? He's got some oven mitts, he's got some Noor Kids books, and he's got a Quran. Amin is excited about the prizes, but by the time he arrives home, it's late and time for bed. Sweet dreams, Amin, says Mom. I can't wait to read my new books. I'll just read one, Amin thinks to himself. With a flashlight under the covers, Amin starts reading his Noor Kids books. This is hilarious. Whoever wrote this is a genius. Did you get it? It's funny because I'm actually the one who wrote it, and then in the book I said that. It's pretty shameless, right? Okay, all right. Let's go back. Amin enjoys reading, but before he knows it, he's read 3 books, and it's almost midnight. The next morning, while Amin prepares for school, he keeps yawning. I can barely keep my eyes open, Amin says. Amin walks out to the bus stop. Oddly, none of his friends are there. You know today's Saturday, right? There's no school, says Hasib. Amin is so tired that he forgot what day it is. I was thinking I never got to try your famous lasagna. How about we cook some up, says Hasib. Amin agrees. The two follow the steps and measure carefully, but Amin can barely stay awake. Can you see that? One of his eyes is droopy, one of them is open. It looks like he's so tired. Oh my goodness. If any of you guys have a baby, I have a baby, her name's Kothar. When it's time for her nap time, she turns into a little pumpkin like Amin here. Amin, you finished the last step, says Hasib. Sprinkle half a cup of shredded mozzarella over the top. As Amin sprinkles, his eyes close and his head droops into the dish. Oh man, his head falls into the tray of lasagna. Amin, what's going on? Says Hasib. I guess I need more sleep, says Amin. I stayed up late to read. I see, says Hasib. Well, let's go clean you up. The lasagna has to bake for 45 minutes. In Amin's room, Hasib notices the Quran is still in the wrapping paper. Can you see that? Amin comes into the room drying his clean face with a towel. Hasib says, Amin, it seems you didn't open your gift. Well, Hasib hands the Quran to Amin. Imagine the power you hold in your hands. power, says Amin. Hasib continues, in the same way that we can follow mom's recipe to make lasagna, we can follow these instructions for how to live the best life. I'll show you. Both boys sit down. In Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the night is a time to sleep and that He made the day for us to rise up again, says Hasib. This ayah teaches us the importance of sleeping to keep our lives in balance. That's so true, says Amin. I didn't know the Quran had an ayah or a verse about that. Is there anything in it about reading, says Amin? Yes, says Hasib. In Surah Al-Alaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to read, and that by reading we can learn many new things. Fun fact, the first verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ever revealed in the Quran as guidance to man was to read. Iqra, read in the name of your Lord. See, that's why I like to read, says Amin. Amin, reading is good, just not reading so late into the night, says Hasib. The delicious smell of cheesy lasagna begins to fill the room. What about lasagna? Is there anything about that in the Quran? Amin asks. Actually, yes, says Hasib. What? In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "O you who have believed, eat from the good things which we have provided for you and be grateful to Allah." Allahu Akbar, you're right, Hasib. This is an amazing book, Amin says. Speaking of good things, let's go try that lasagna, says Hasib. Everyone gathers at the table. After thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the food, they begin eating. Thank you, boys, for cooking today, says Mom. And look at this. They've got some beautiful, delicious lasagna. MashaAllah, says Amin's dad. This tastes just like your mom's lasagna. Hasib continues, we followed the recipe, so we were able to make it just right. Amin finishes, and I'm going to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's recipe for the best way to live my life. The end. Bum, ba-dum. Now, this story actually has a great deal of depth to it. Because in this story, we've created what's called a metaphor, okay? And that metaphor is making the Quran similar to a recipe. So first, what is a recipe? And how is the Quran similar to a recipe? A recipe, when you're making something like lasagna, it tells you how to make it, step-by-step instructions. And if you follow those instructions perfectly, then what happens? You make a beautiful dish like lasagna. By the way, if my wife is watching, Sana, hey, lasagna, inshallah, one of these days. Okay, anyways, astaghfirullah. I love my wife. She makes amazing food every single day. But, you know, lasagna, a little bit here, a little bit there. Anyways, so here's the thing. Right? How is the Quran similar to a recipe? Well, because in the same way that if we follow a recipe to make a dish, the Quran is a book that shows us how we can best lead our lives. And if we follow those instructions, then it's the best way that we can lead our lives. And I want you to think for a moment, okay? Every single gadget and gizmo comes with an instruction manual. Like my phone, it comes with an instruction manual that shows me how it works. My microphone, it comes with an instruction manual that shows me how it works. My keyboard, it comes with an instruction manual that shows me how it works. Even Noor Kids comes with an instruction manual that shows you how it works. Allah created us, did He give us an instruction manual? Why, yes, He did. He gave us an instruction manual, and it is the Quran. It shows us how we can best lead our lives. Now, let me ask you another question, okay? If I gave you a recipe to make the world's ooeyest, gooeyest, most deliciousest lasagna, and if you don't follow the recipe, will you be able to make the world's ooeyest and gooeyest, deliciousiest lasagna? No. You might make something, but it won't be that. It won't be perfect. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the Quran. And if we follow it to a dot, then what that means is that we will be able to live our life in the best way. It's like Allah has given us an instruction manual for our entire beings. And if we want ourselves to be working at the best, hardest, most, the best way possible, firing on all cylinders, well, it's simple. All we have to do is follow the Quran. Of course, the Quran and the traditions of our Prophet, they go hand in hand, right? So they go hand in hand together. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today I had one very important message to share with you, and that is this. In this month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with the Quran. And this Quran is an instruction manual on how we can lead our best lives. And look, for many of us, the Quran during the month or during the year might stay on our bookshelf. And astaghfirullah, sometimes it might even gather dust because we may not read it. But this month, during the month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is this month of the Quran. And because of that, I ask you and I recommend you to read this book. Benefit from it every single day at a minimum. Allow yourself as a family to read this book at least one page at a time. And if you can, read the English translation such that you can benefit as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yesterday I had said that we would be going over some of the responses from our Ramadan challenges that we have been sharing. And by the way, we have quite a few responses. And by the way, if you are not signed up for our formal program, you can do it at noorkids.com/Ramadan. That's noorkids.com/Ramadan. So that way you can access our Kids Quran as well as our challenges. Now, here's what I am thinking. There are a number of wonderful challenges that have been created. And as I have gone through them, it is impossible for me to just pick a couple of them because it's going to lead to disappointment. I want to show all of them. So here is what I am asking among the group of people who are watching, perhaps a mom or a dad. We are looking for a volunteer, maybe 2 volunteers, who might be able to help us create a video. Just stringing up together some of these images together along with maybe some beautiful sounds in the background like a nasheed. So that way we can celebrate all of the challenges that people have submitted together. If you are able to help us with this, we would tremendously appreciate it. My email address is amin@noorkids.com. Send me an email and say that you'd be willing to help because we would love to get your assistance. Inshallah, that would be amazing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are hoping to have this 5-minute video available for you tomorrow where we will be able to showcase some of the amazing work that has happened. But between now and then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to thank you for joining us today. And inshallah, we will see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey, but you can't call me while I'm doing the program.